Now, any facilitator worth their salt knows that it's really important to keep track of time, or at least the ability to have some way to time box your activities. And as part of Mural's feature set, you have access to your own little timer here at the top right of your facilitation superpowers. Now, the timer is really important to use for yourself. Let's say you want to time box some of your own activities, or perhaps there's a voting session or an activity that you want to time box. This is where you want to use the timer. So what I'm also trying to say is that you can use the timer in conjunction with some of the other facilitation superpowers that is available to you. Now, to control the timer is pretty straightforward. You go to the top right corner here, you click on the timer function, and that will open up a few settings for you. At default, my timer is set at 5 minutes, and of course you can increase the time, or you can just go into the box itself and add your own custom time in there if you want. I'm going to go over and let's say set this up to 12 minutes here. And then I have the ability to actually set the chime. So when the time runs out in this timer, I'm able to control the sound it makes a little bit. So I have the ability to say I want it to sound like a cello, airplane, or cuckoo. Limited, but it does and gets the job done. However, I also have the option to say none. So for some folks, they use Mural to actually do presentations. It's one of the use cases, and they want to time box themselves. Of course, they don't want to have a chime play. They just want a visual indicator of the time that's kind of running out. So you can opt to actually switch off that alarm sound if you so wish. I'm just going to put that back for now, and I'm going to start the timer. And I want you to take note of what happens in the top toolbar there. So I'm starting the timer. It's going to activate, and then you'll see the actual countdown happening. So I'm just going to zoom out for a second, and you'll see it's pretty straightforward and clear here in the canvas layout, and people can see how the timer is then interacting. Now, just keep note that everybody is actually able to see that timer, and they will also hear a chime when this timer runs out. So it's a great way for people to interact in the canvas. Another point that I'll make about the timer is that if I decided to leave the canvas, or I have a really extended timer, or something goes wrong and I want to refresh the browser, or I have to restart my laptop, heaven forbid, the timer will continue running. It's running in the canvas. So your other facilitators can also control the timer if they so wish. Now, the other element that I want to point out is you can also interact with the timer while it's running as a facilitator. Now, we've all been in sessions where perhaps people have had a really awesome conversation. Things get really intense. You want to extend the time a little bit. You can go in here, hit the plus button, and it'll add a minute or two to your timer. However, maybe you want to be sneaky because you see the activity is running a little bit slow. You can also decrease the timer here if you so wish to do so. The other thing is also, let's say there's a lunch break and you're running a really long timer. You can go in here and pause the timer if you so wish, right? And that then brings the timer to a standstill. The other thing that you might want to do, you can see here with the color indicator at the top, it's now paused. You can go ahead and then you can resume the timer. Of course, you don't have to let the timer run out. You can go in, click on the timer, and then end the timer, and that will then cancel the timer for you and give people an indication that the timer is indeed ended. And that's how easy the timer is. It's a great little feature that people use all the time here at Mural, even if it's just to time box yourself during sessions. And I'm time boxing myself, and let's jump into the next feature.